Welcome to More Than a Few Words, a marketing conversation. This is Lorraine Ball, your host. And I might have been a little bit late today because I was busy scrolling through some interesting subreddits. What are subreddits and why should you care? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. And to have this conversation, I've invited Flynn Zaiger to join me. Flynn, hi, Flynn, how are you?
Hi, I'm excited to be here, Lorraine.
Well, I'm excited you're here. And what people should know about you is that you are the CEO of Online Optimism, that you spend your day keeping your employees happy, your clients happy, and the office pups happiest. I appreciate that. We had office cats.
There's about a 50% chance that our office cat will make an appearance on this call, so we'll see.
I know this is going off on a tangent, but the truth is that there's a lot of research about having pets in your office and what it does for employee morale and how it keeps people relaxed and calm and happy. And I totally believe that.
I'm going to remind you that it keeps you happy and calm when the cat pulls my headset off during this podcast recording. uh, but I do agree, and I think that cats are both helpful for workplace morale and a great way to just get Reddit karma if you don't mind posting pictures of them on the internet.
Absolutely. Well, yes, cats do rule the internet.
Yes.
Um, but while you mentioned Reddit, let's dive in. And I've done an introductory episode and we talked a little bit about how Google and ChatGPT are indexing Reddit content. And now I'm ready for a little bit more than just the basics, creating a profile, joining some conversations. I'm thinking about creating my own subreddit. What should I know before I dive in?
Yeah, I think this is a pretty crucial part of building a brand presence on Reddit is essentially building your own little home. And you have your own user profile, which is similar to how other social platforms will give you your own business page. But a subreddit is like a mix of that where you not only could do your own posts, but you could also get other people to start a conversation and get more positive content. And yes, this is the office cat that will be joining me for this call. Her name is B. She's very excited to be here.
Well, B, I'm very excited to have you. I'm sorry, but Benny, my office cat, has been locked out of the room
Oh.
because he thinks the microphone is for him. So, having said that, we're gonna create a subreddit where I can kind of build out my brand. And one of my questions with that is, I've joined Reddit as Lorraine Ball. Should I also have a more than a few words profile to build out my subreddit, or will people respond better to me as a person promoting a brand than a brand promoting a brand?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think a lot of it depends on the size of your team. If you're a small business where you maybe have one marketing person, or if you're a solopreneur, in that case, a personal brand is almost better than a business account because Redditors at the end of the day, do prefer talking to individuals. I think if you have a larger organization, you have a marketing team, that sometimes isn't possible, especially if employees come and go, but your brand name is going to stay the same. And in these cases, we recommend making two accounts, what we internally call a brand account and a representative account. And the brand account is great to kind of hang out in the subreddits that you own, since it doesn't have to deal with moderators potentially banning you. And you can send out that representative account to do customer service, to engage with Redditors at a community aspect without them acting maliciously towards a brand account, which they are sometimes want to do.
Absolutely. People love to grind axes, don't they? They just
Yeah, it's
something gets under their skin and they just want to talk about it.
and we
So,
really, I was gonna say, we talk about that a lot with Redditors, where it's just you might be nervous because you see a lot of negative content on the platform, but that's only because you're not speaking up. And if no one is going to defend you, the dog pile is just going to get bigger and bigger.
that reminds me, going back, it feels like 100 years, but it was probably 20 years ago. And I was on some other forum and somebody just said something really horrible about me. And before I could respond, half a dozen of my friends who were also in this group came to my defense and really put that person in their place. And I think that is when social media is at its best, when it works the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, I'm sorry you had that happen to you, but it's really like reassuring when you have the
Mhm.
community kind of
Mhm.
back you up, and I think that that's one of the nice things that Reddit on its best days can feel like is a bunch of supporters not only rooting for you but creating content to help you grow your brand or your business.
Okay, so now I've created this subreddit. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but I've created a subreddit. What do I do? How do I get it started? How do I invite people to participate? I mean, how do I make it more than a big party room with some balloons and me sitting alone at a table?
Yeah, I think this you want to make the party exciting to continue that metaphor. So you'll want to start posting interesting, engaging content that is not just promotional content. You want to ask questions, start discussions. Reddit has a lot of like weird ways to promote subreddit. The two main ones that you'll want to take advantage of, one is cross posting. So when you post something to your subreddit, you could then cross post it to a different subreddit that has a much larger audience than your room with just you sitting blowing out one of those streamers by yourself. The second way is this is a slightly hidden feature, but you can actually invite people through direct messages to join your subreddit. That has to be done through the app. It'd be wonderful if they ever added that functionality to the desktop, but if you're used to a
Oh,
big screen, you'll have to go to the small screen for days you want to send invites.
so would you consider Reddit primarily a mobile platform? I mean, they've made the accommodation for desktop, but would you consider it mostly a mobile platform?
I think in compared to other social media platforms, no. That isn't to say that it is primarily a desktop platform, but I think you see TikTok, Instagram, those are designed first for mobile. And I mean, just the way the images and videos appear, those are clearly designed for a vertical screen. And Reddit, I, I think that they are, like every other social platform, chasing TikTok's tail. But the users are pretty resistant to it. And I think it is of all the social platforms, the most friendly to desktop. I don't know if I would say it's desktop first, but compared to everything else, it is still a great user experience, except for sending subreddit invites on desktop.
Got it. So you said something there that really intrigues me. They're chasing TikTok. Is video taking over Reddit, or is it still a place for conversations?
I think it's still especially for businesses, a great place for conversations when you're thinking about like customer service and talking to people. That isn't to say that if you just scroll, especially if you're a unlogged in user, like their algorithm will show people who don't customize the profile more video, just because that's what humans are responding to nowadays. But
Mhm.
once you dive deeper into the platform, particularly certain subreddits that restrict that sort of content, it is more text based than a lot of the platforms are in 2025.
Interesting. So you can restrict what kind of content is you it shows up in your subreddit. You can say yes to video, no to video, yes to images, no to images.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things you'll want to set up carefully. When you moderate your own subreddit, you could restrict people from sharing links, sharing images. You could also even set up every single post to be approved by you. So that's really a lot more control than most people expect on Reddit. It's not 100% control. Other people could talk about you off that subreddit, but it is a lot more than most people think of when they imagine Reddit management.
That is the way of the internet. I remember as people started writing complaints and reviews on social media, and a lot of my customers were very resistant. What if somebody says something bad about me?
Yeah.
Well, they're going to say it. They're either going to say it on your page or somebody else's page.
And that's what we always tell. I mean, there's no better pitch for like Reddit management as an agency than you should search your brand name. You should search your brand name plus reviews, your brand name plus cost. Um, I will bet a lot of money that for most people listening to this podcast, Reddit will show up in the top three. And it often, hopefully, it's great news and it's lovely. But if it's not, that's why you need to take this platform seriously. Is you can't ignore Reddit at the moment. Many brands tried for the last 2 decades, but it needs to be paid attention to because other people are finding this content about you.
Absolutely. And I think that circles back to something I just mentioned briefly in the beginning is this idea that Reddit is being discovered and indexed at a much higher rate by Google. All of a sudden, Reddit is showing up in my Google searches and it's
Yeah.
showing up in my my chat GPT
Mhm.
research. And so you can't not be there is kind of my point.
Yeah, you're gonna be there whether you like it or not, and all those different AI services are using Reddit as really the training data. So if if you want the LLMs and all these tools to see positive things about you, it helps to be the one putting it there because other or else they're gonna learn from other people talking about you without you getting to join in that conversation.
Absolutely. Well, Flynn, this was fabulous. Thank you so much for filling in some of the gaps for me on Reddit.
Of course, Lorraine, happy to. I'll see you. I'll upvote your posts next time I see them on Reddit.
Absolutely. And I'm going to encourage, if you guys are listening, you certainly can go to Flynn's website, onlineoptimism.com. But if you want to see how Reddit works, there'll be a link to his Reddit profile, his YouTube, and his LinkedIn in the show notes. Thanks again.
Thanks, Lorraine. Happy to be here.
And if you've enjoyed this conversation, if you'd like to find other conversations like this, be sure to hop over to morethanafewwords.com. In addition to the hundreds of conversations, you'll find white papers, workbooks, and so much more. This has been another episode of More Than a Few Words. Thanks for listening.